Hi everyone, welcome to the National Small Business Week Virtual Summit, hosted by the U.S. Small Business Administration and SCORE. I would like to thank SCORE for sponsoring this webinar, Integrating Brick and Mortar and eCommerce. My name is Bailey Krell, I'm with SCORE, and I'll be moderating this webinar session. Our presenter, Martin Guerrero, is a member of the Small Business and Community Advocacy team at Square. As an e-commerce specialist with over 10 years in the website and domain name industry, he has helped Square sellers broaden their customer base with an online presence, providing both on-site and online educational programs centered around e-commerce and digital payment solutions. Before Martin begins his presentation, I'd like to mention just a few housekeeping items. This webinar will last 1 hour. You have the ability to download the slide deck at the bottom of the webinar console by clicking the downloads icon. If you have any questions, please submit those using the Q&A box. Please use the same Q&A box if you experience any technical difficulties and need assistance. Now I'd like to bring Martin on the line to begin his presentation. Hi, Martin.
Hey, Billy, thank you. I appreciate that. Really excited to be here today, talking with everyone and being a part of the National Small Business Week this year. Today we're going to be talking about integrating brick and mortar and e-commerce, or as one of my smarter colleagues calls it, integrating brick and mortar and click to order. I think I like that title a little bit better. So today we're going to be talking about a few things here, and number one being the relationship between the physical store and digital commerce within the coming years, right? The types of integrated systems that are going to be crucial to a small business operation, how small businesses are going to combine online shopping with in-store utility. A really popular option we're seeing nowadays is buying online, pick up in store, and how and why some sellers are pivoting from their retail locations. So as retailers started planning for 2021, coming out of 2020 and that first year of the COVID-19 pandemic, some may even still be in the planning stage. We're going to kind of review how they may be thinking about integrating e-commerce and their physical sales going forward, right? So at Square, we've seen firsthand many of our sellers going online for the very first time, with, of course, a large surge of those coming on board in March and April of last year. And we still, to this day, continue to see them coming online. And I think there are two key things. As much as people were trying to rapidly move their businesses online, some for the very first time, again, and some taking the opportunity to move away from traditional legacy technology and using this as an opportunity to double down on more modern technology to run their business. And I think we've seen, a lot of innovation. So as much as we've seen, people move to do this to stay in business and to keep their people employed. We're also seeing sellers innovate. And these are things like curbside pickup, which was something that was not on our roadmap at Square at the beginning of 2020. This is a fascinating adoption by sellers to manage really through the pandemic. QR codes is another piece of innovation that has seen rapid adoption, even though it's been around for many, many years. 2020 and into 2021, we've seen the adoption of QR codes for many, many reasons, quite a bit lately. And then as folks, gearing up to 2021 and now even into 2022, there's kind of three key themes here, right? So number one, now is the time to get online, right? It's never been easier to get online. So everyone should be using that to their advantage. Number two, these innovations, curbside pickup, QR code ordering, the expansion of delivery, they're not temporary. We're seeing these as long-term, and they're not something that is just going to end when we say we come out of the pandemic, right? It's just not things aren't just gonna go back to normal like they were before. These are things that have been around for a while now, and folks have really enjoyed the convenience and the use of them, and it's helped their business, so they're in for the long haul. And then last, your website is very powerful. So even though you may be only started using it as an online shopping option out of pure necessity, right? The website in 2021 is very powerful for data, learning about your customer, marketing to your customer, social media selling, and really the list kind of goes on and on there. So those would be my my three key things going in 2021 or now into 2022. And so next up, let's look at what I think small and medium-sized retailers need to do to make it in such a new integrated environment. There are a couple of key things to think about when it comes to e-commerce, right? It's not just an extension of your physical store. You need to do new things in different ways. And before you sell a single product online, you need to be asking yourself the question, do I have digital images for my products? Do I know how to describe them to an audience that isn't otherwise able to pick up the product off the shelf and look at it and figure that out? Right. So that's where we see a lot of businesses struggle. They think, okay, I'll just put it online. My product is great, and which it is, but you're missing that aspect of someone coming into a store, you be putting on your sales hat and talking to them and showing it to them, describing it, right? It's a whole different environment online. So your pictures need to do a lot of that conversation for you, along as well as the descriptions you place on your website. So simple things like, how big is this product, right? How many ounces, pounds does it weigh? These sort of things that you'll want to know, because now you're going to get into the whole world of shipping, which you may not have done before, right? So if you've been retailing and relying on the customer to determine these types of pieces of information themselves when they come into the store, all of a sudden you're having to ask yourself, do I have a spec sheet to do that? Do I have all the dimensional information I can share with my customers? So even if you have all the digital assets in place and you've been able to identify how to describe these products to consumers, unlike physical retail, where the customer essentially did the shopping for the product by coming into the store, right? You got to be asking yourself, how am I going to get the product to my customers? Right? Am I going to go and get a UPS or a FedEx, or a USPS account? Am I going to use a local delivery service? Am I going to deliver it myself? Right? Am I going to have to hire a delivery person? Figuring those issues out and then balancing that out with, am I just doing them? Am I just going to have them do curbside pickup, buy online, pick up in store? This is going to play into, where is my customer base coming from? Is it the local neighborhood, right? Am I just marketing to folks in a general area around my store? Is it coming from, a larger part of the city? Is it coming from outside the states? And eventually, outside of the country, right? Those types of issues are going to play into how big do I expect my e-commerce to ultimately, my e-commerce business to ultimately end up. And so, having done many interviews and customer research regarding our online product and many other online products that are out there during the early days of the lockdowns, these are some key insights that customers using all types of e-commerce solutions provided. What's interesting about this first step, a lot of it is once your site is built, a lot of these solutions are out of the box. One of the keys here is that there's no coding pressure on the seller per se, right? They're not developers by nature, obviously, right? You're not getting into opening up, a barbershop or a salon or a boutique to become a web designer, right? So the e-commerce solutions that are out there today are so easy to use. And like I said, they come out of the box, being able to get you up and running online so quickly and easily. As I mentioned, it's never been easier to get online, and every day it gets easier. That's a reduction in the complexity of getting online that has been removed, which really enabled this massive wave of sellers to take that first step. Right, where before, I've been in the industry a long time. Before, that was probably the biggest obstacle to getting online, was the difficulty of it. Do I need to pay someone to do this? Do I need to learn a whole new software solution? Do I need to learn some coding to get a website the way I want it to get up and running? And today that answer is resoundingly no. I mean, it's almost all the solutions out there are do-it-yourself. And I think the other interesting piece in the feedback that we receive is that it's not immediately apparent in the noise of getting your catalog updated, building your site, and remaining open, because frankly, that's the number one goal, right? It's just the competitive energy you're building around this retail location. Now, the fact that you're online and discoverable by a lot more customers because you're now on Google search results for the first time, right? Folks can do a Bing search, right? Two, you're doing things like curbside pickup or delivery or QR codes, whatever it is you've adopted or looking to adopt, right? That's the new measuring stick for consumers. Health has been at the top of the list, so I shop, wherever contactless options are available. We're seeing that more and more so now, and that kind of goes into your point of sale systems as well. Do you have a contactless solution? Because folks are looking for that, right? They're still cognizant of being safer. And the underlying common denominator in this is that sellers are becoming more competitive and distancing themselves from competitors who are not doing this, right? So everyone can get online, everyone can do this. Some are doing it better than others. Some have adopted it sooner than others, and they're the ones that are really, reaping the benefits. But everyone else can too. I tell folks all the time, like, there's enough for everyone out there, right? There's a lot of competition out there, but there really truly is a market for just about everyone. And one of the challenges that we've seen from businesses learning to get online is that they don't have a customer or loyalty list or anything like that to tell the world that they are now online, right? They are very reliant on customers going in and finding out that their companies are now online, right? Putting up something in the window, or maybe it might be social media. They don't have necessarily that direct consumer line to let them know that. And then one of the questions these businesses should be asking themselves is, does it make sense to put together a mailing list or to put together some sort of promotional newsletter, something that allows you to engage with your customers outside of them physically coming into the store, as we've seen, less and less of that foot traffic happening, right? How else are you going to engage with those customers? And email marketing is still one of the most effective ways to do that. And for those that did have some sort of list, for email marketing and that they could use to announce their new online ordering, fulfillment options, that certainly gave them, quite the advantage. We heard that as a major challenge for those businesses relying solely on face-to-face interaction with customers. They just didn't know how to communicate with those customers once they stopped coming into the stores. And so now we're going to look at some best practices for combining online shopping with your brick and mortar shopping experience, right? The first part is having a plan, right? Moving online is not something you do once. It's something you're constantly building on top of. And I think a very important piece is that item catalog, right? These are the products you're going to be selling online. What I've noticed is that a good rule of thumb is, say if you have 3,000 items in your boutique, right? Just making a number up. Maybe don't focus on getting all 3,000 up and running your first time getting it online, right? That's going to be difficult. Maybe select your top sellers, maybe your top 50, maybe your top 100 as the first piece to build confidence in your website, to get used to operationalizing, your online orders in your store, right? As you start getting orders, how is that flow? What does that flow look like? How is that best for you and your employees? I love the concept of uploading a revised catalog, maybe just doing, order ahead and pick up, and that's step number one. Right, get a website up and running, allow folks to place orders online and still come in like they used to, but now they're not, necessarily just in the store, shopping around. They've made their purchase, they come in, they see a familiar face in you, you give them their awesome product, and then they leave. And now you're still retaining that customer. So maybe that's what you use to help you get comfortable, handling orders coming in from an online space into your physical space. That's when, to start blending those two. Then from there, you can expand on that, right? So for example, you have multiple locations. Now you offer online ordering at multiple locations, or you expand your fulfillment methods. Once you have in-store and curbside pickup down, and you guys have your flow for that, now maybe you expand onto delivery as a natural extension, or even shipping in state and then gradually, out of state and just, nationwide. We're seeing delivery, which, most folks really kind of put together with food and beverage, right? I'm going to order a pizza, have it delivered. We're seeing that becoming a huge part of the retail space now, where it's not just shipping, right? Using a shipping provider. We're seeing more brick and mortar locations using local couriers or even their own courier to deliver retail items as well. So folks getting really creative out there. And again, the convenience of it all, folks being at home, more working from home, being able to do business with their local vendors and just have that delivered makes it so convenient, and they enjoy that and something they want to keep moving forward with. And so I think having a plan and a goal and executing on that, incrementally, once you start to have more experience under your belt, maybe you start looking at selling by Instagram and Facebook and Google Shop and Etsy, like all these other options that are out there. That I think is an amazing evolution, way to just keep evolving, right? Start with something small, keep building on it, get better at it, and then eventually you open it up to this plethora of different options out there. And so as more and more retailers are going online, shipping has become such a huge issue. We saw a tremendous strain on demand for shipping services that was not there the year prior, and providers were slow to grow along with demand. This created an opportunity for local businesses to leverage, again, their localness and offer buy online and pick up in store, or again, maybe partner with a small local courier service to offer quick shipping within a certain radius. Something that allowed them to compete with some of the bigger, box stores, Amazon, right, that offers the free 2-day shipping, right, being able to compete with some of those bigger industries out there by leveraging that localness and being able to get it to them, quickly and easily. We saw such a huge surge in buyers wanting to support local and small business in general versus the typical, big box retailers. So, as I mentioned earlier, getting online has really never been easier. But and we can help folks get online. You can reach out to the SBA, SCORE, all these different resources that are out there for you to be able to get online. But it's when you start getting those orders, okay, now I'm getting orders. How am I going to get this to them? How am I going to ship it? What is my package going to look like? Where do I get boxes? All these other things start to open up. That's why, we talk about maybe doing that gradually, right? Just maybe it's within a certain radius. Maybe it's just, in-store pickup first, and then you start to ship, and then, delivery. So just really starting incrementally. And so another challenge for retailers is making sure they can fill online orders with the inventory they have on hand while also managing in-person sales. You are most definitely going to need an inventory management system that syncs between your in-store and your online sales. It's going to be so much more difficult if you carry on with, I have my in-store solution, right, for making sales, and I have my online solution for making sales, and they're not talking to each other, right? You're not going to want to have to cancel orders and issue refunds, and just the kind of negative experience that causes due to not having inventory that is properly tracked. So having the systems in place that will allow you to do that are going to be crucial to your overall success. And so inventory, such a critical piece to the retailer seller, and even more important when you factor in the online component. One of the things that we've tried to do, and other systems try to really do, is bridge that gap. When you're launching your online store, that it can sync with your point of sale system, so that when you purchase in store and online, the inventory is always in alignment. That's something when you're looking at, when you're putting those pieces together. Maybe you've got, maybe you're just, you're using paper systems still. We still see that quite a bit. Folks are writing down on graph paper, their inventory and their sales, and keeping that. The online component really doesn't mesh well too much with that, right? Because that's all going to be digital. You can export it and you can have it, but really marrying those two together is going to be an important piece. And we've seen, businesses really looking at, okay, now I've got a website up and running. That's my first digital piece. What more can I now digitize, right? Can my point of sale be better? Can my time card system be better? Can my reporting be better? Can my loyalty program be better? Can it go from just a paper punch card to some sort of, sign up via your phone number or email that also works with your website, right? These things all start to really come together, and you have a much more holistic view of how your business is doing when these components all talk to each other, right? And so when we survey our sellers and we do those, those interviews, managing inventory and marketing really still remains the two most challenging aspects of online selling. And so we'll go into that a little more here. So let's talk about marketing efforts. How do you balance engaging with customers both in person and online? That can be a difficult challenge. Number one is you have to be available where your customers want to buy. So if you've held out on having an online channel, right, albeit a small portion of your sales, just know there will always be customers who only want to buy online, right? So if you're not offering them that solution, you're not going to get that business, right? And we know with all the tremendous growth that online selling and e-commerce in general has seen in the past year and a half, it's only going to continue to do so and just keep evolving. So for those businesses that are still, holding off on getting that online presence, I implore you to look at getting it done, and look at in increments, right? Start small and then start to grow from there. So whether you want to take, an evening a week to use some of the simplified software that's available nowadays and try some stuff out, you're not putting your whole business, at risk by adding a new channel. Instead, you're creating an opportunity to collect data in ways you've never collected before, right? Data that'll help inform all parts of your business. So I look at this really, the digitization and the online component as an exciting opportunity, for retailers to get to know their customers better because of the data collection now available to them. And so that data piece becomes very, very important. There are ways you can get online. There's marketplaces. There's third-party marketplaces that are available out there. But those are great marketing channels, right, to bring in those new customers. But you're going to want to have your website, which is going to be, your center of gravity for your online presence, because you want to retain that customer data. If you're on a third-party marketplace, the order is being processed there, they're managing that customer relationship and all really just using you as a fulfillment, right? You're just shipping the product. When you have your own website and your own channels like that, you control all of that. So you can see, who are my best customers? What are my best products that are selling? All in your own solution. That really makes it much, much easier for you. So that data becomes key. And that's why having your own online solution is vital to your overall success in that area. And then, one overarching theme and a big thing we tend to see with folks moving online is that it reinforces the sense of ownership and control over your brand. Right. So, and that can be in the simplest forms of even just registering your domain name for the first time, right? You've got your business name. It's been around for a long time. Maybe you've even registered your domain name. Maybe someone told you, hey, you really need to get your domain name registered so someone doesn't take it and put up a website that competes with your business, right? Just maybe, launching that domain name for the first time. It really is the platform where you have full control over all the things relating to your brand, right? This is where you control what the logo looks like, the color scheme, any and all content that you're putting on the website is exclusively there because you put it there. All the information you want folks to know and learn about you is on the website. You're putting it there, whether it's, customer testimonials or, in written form, or maybe it's video testimonials, or maybe it's, videos showing, your product and how it's used, or maybe you're showing, some behind the scenes videos, which have become so popular nowadays. Maybe you're a restaurant that's showing, all your videos and your pictures on Instagram are the dining room and how great everything looks and how it's all set up. But your behind the scenes is the kitchen, right? Everyone working hard back there to create the food. Maybe it's the chef talking about their inspiration for that new dish that everyone is talking about and everyone is asking about when they're coming into your establishment. Some different ways for you to engage there. So let's look now at how you can use online tools to incentivize foot traffic with events and exclusives. Right? So we've been focusing on the website as a sales channel, but really where it becomes a really powerful tool is for driving foot traffic into the store. Right? So most of us are walking around with a computer in our pocket, right? We've got one of these in our pockets at all times. So using your site to promote exclusives or in-store events or new products, right? Customers no longer need a physical flyer in hand. They've got it right on their phone at any time. They can just look it up and head right to you. And when I talk about the use of the phone, right, it has to be mobile friendly, right? One thing we often overlook is how contextually aware our phones are. Right, with a touch of a button, I can ask it where the nearest pizza shop is or the nearest clothing boutique is, right? So, and it'll tell me where it is in relation to where I am, and even give me directions there. So, being able to have a mobile-friendly website, having an online solution that connects with those avenues is very, very vital to that. So, we saw in 2020, Google saw in 2020, one of the biggest terms that they saw in increases in in searches was the near me search type. So pizza shop near me, or clothing boutique near me, or shoe store near me, right? They're looking for that localness, or looking to head there. They're looking for it to tell them, hey, you've got, a couple choices here. Do you want to head here, here, or here? So having that, right, it's directing them right into your store, giving them step-by-step directions how to get there, right? Really seeing video as a traffic driver with virtual shopping experiences, or even tasting events, and even again those just behind the behind the scenes videos to keep your customers in the loop of what's going on, letting them know, hey, we're doing, here's our COVID protocols, here's how we're keeping everything clean, safe, and secure for you. You can feel secure to come on in. A great way to engage that foot traffic there. Going back to earlier QR codes that I mentioned, you see them outside of storefronts all the time, whether they're on the windows, on the doors, or even on sandwich boards outside, right? Such a great merger of the online and offline worlds working together. I can be walking on the sidewalk, you have a sandwich board there with the QR code with your menu, or just a link to whatever you want it to be. I can scan it with my phone while I'm walking and say, oh, they're having an event next week that's they're working with another store, and they're going to have maybe an outdoor event, or maybe they're offering patio dining, right? Just kind of merging those two worlds together, makes it super easy for folks to be able to interact and engage with you. Running a brick and mortar store, you already have tools in your toolkit that you use for your operation. Aside from marketing, the two most popular tools are gift cards and loyalty. Right? Loyalty has really seen a resurgence, and it's now a must that both work seamlessly for online and offline purchases. Your gift cards, if I buy a gift card from you, I need to know that I can, if it's $100, I can spend 50 of it in person. I can spend the other 50 online, or I can go online and give someone a gift card. I can purchase it for friends and family. Again, that's more customer engagement for you. I'm essentially marketing for you. I love your store, so I want to share a gift card with my dad for him to go buy something, or a friend, or even a coworker, right? So short story here is that all of the tools you use to market and gain new customers really helps work for online as well. The loyalty experience, right? Being able to, the coffee shop is a great example, right? Buying 5 coffees, get a bagel free next time, or whatever that might be. Again, that you'll want to have that option online, as more and more folks are migrating to just making that purchase online. They don't want to miss out on those perks of having, their digital punch card, right? Oh, cool. I can go online, I can order my coffee and pick it up, in store, and I'm still getting my points, and I'm earning rewards, and I'm someone that's going to keep coming back over and over, because again, I'm loyal to your business. You're offering me these exclusives. So I think it's important, to understand, if you build a new channel, whether that's going online or any other sales channels, it's going to cost money to build that channel. So if you have certain expectations of what kind of margins you're supposed to make, anticipate that there's a startup phase, right? I see a lot of folks really get into that, and there's a lot of free applications out there. But again, really helping to drive customers and getting in there, it's going to cost some money, right? And whether you're investing in having to bring in a consultant to help set it up, or you're having to hire someone specifically to manage this new channel for you, or maybe you're having to hire an employee to package all your online goods. Right now, you're doing great, you're getting sales, but that's keeping you away from the front register where you're still getting that foot traffic. Maybe now you have to hire someone to spend their days, packaging those properly, so they're not, maybe if they're fragile, so they're not broken upon delivery, or you're having to spend money on advertising to help promote the website. That's all extra cost that's going to bite into your initial margins that you're otherwise experiencing in your traditional, offline channel. So it does take some. There's a lot of free applications out there. You can do an Instagram business or a Facebook shop, accounts. Those are free, right? But if you want to promote them, you want to get them boosted up, and it's going to cost you. You just think you're going to want to have a little bit of a marketing budget for that. And so be prepared to, looking at some of the takeaways here, some more takeaways. Be prepared to look at this as an investment, right? It's going to take time to grow this up. It's going to take time for you to become familiar with how all this new software works. It's going to take time for you to get familiar with how your customers interact with you through this new channel. And maybe it's a whole new customer base that you haven't interacted with before. And to the extent that you can afford to make that investment, and be willing to wait 3 to 6 months before it really starts to pay off in a traditional margin perspective. You're going to learn so much about your customers. It's going to better inform all parts of your business, that I do see this as a very good risk to be taken. Again, it's a calculated risk because there's good external tools to help you do this along the way. It forces you to do a better job of interacting with your traditional in-person customers anyways, and it's going to pay off by way of needing to do better inventory management and being able to figure out your pricing in a better manner. These are all things you should know anyways, or you already know anyways, and an offline channel forces you to learn these things and refine your game. So it's a very excellent situation to be in as a retailer or even a service provider. It doesn't necessarily have to be retail, or it can be a quick service restaurant, a full service restaurant, to be basically pushed towards doing a better job that you actually want to be doing anyway. And so what this surge of folks coming online really points to is just a further movement of how more and more stores are becoming truly omni-channel, right? And this begins with getting that online presence going. Along with that is a larger realization about how many buyers are on mobile and why that's important. Being able to order seamlessly on the phone or a tablet, because that's where all shopping is occurring. We see, year over year, the percentage of orders coming from a mobile device has gone up incrementally every year. In 2020, really just accelerated, that trend well beyond, what they're expecting. Two would be around the data piece that I talked about, and how critical it's going to be it is to be in front of that data with your online customers. That's really key. It's key because it's directional and it helps you set goals and lets you see the trends, and also raises on the areas that may be problematic in the business, right? Just, it's not going to show you all the good. It'll point out some of the bad as well. And so that's a big piece that we're a big proponent of. Another key piece is fulfillment, right? Things like curbside pickup, which became our largest fulfillment channel with our sellers, and the way QR codes are being leveraged, and how delivery is now being adopted for retail deliveries as just opposed to, traditional food and beverages. That really is a big sign of just how that landscape has and is still changing, right? And so my last takeaway from this is that it's a great time, to get online. And again, like I said, it's never been easier to do so. There are many, many companies moving roadmaps around and making it just easier and easier, and trying to incentivize all the remaining sellers out there that are still thinking about going online to come online. And so I think it's a great time, to take advantage of this. There's tons of support resources out there available to you. Obviously, the SBA and SCORE being a huge one there, right? Being able to go to them and talk to them about what your plans are and how you want to go about that. There's so many resources out there for you to be able to do that. And we've seen communities out there of sellers that are willing to share their knowledge and help you to incorporate online in your brick and mortar business, and help you, to avoid some of the mistakes they may have made, right? So, we talk about that community aspect, being able to talk to, other businesses along that main street of how they've done things, and where they maybe stumbled and where they're succeeding, right? We've seen many businesses talking to each other and sharing this data, because they've all been in it together, right? This pandemic has shown, it hit everyone at the same time. It hit everybody equally. Some were a little more prepared than others, but we've seen that community really come together to talk to one another and be willing to really help each other out for everyone to be able to succeed. Cool. So that ends my presentation today, and now really happy to take any questions you may have in relation to the presentation or just getting online in general. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with the questions.
I'm just going to start from the top with this question again. So how do we tap into the e-commerce space for products that may not be conducive to delivery or shipping? So they're talking about service-based products here.
Service-based, yeah. So if you're not going to use traditional, transactional type of website, a website's going to be great for you in order to market, right? A central location for all of the information you want out there about your business, to advertise the types of services you offer, and a way to contact you in order to contract those services from you. So you're still going to want a website. That's going to be, I know there's other options out there, social media accounts, things like that. But I always like to say, your website is the center of gravity for your online presence, and everything kind of goes out from there. But where, we have, salons, barbershops, things like that, where there's service type based businesses that have a website to advertise their businesses and even book them, for time online. So that would be a way you could utilize that to your advantage.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Our next question comes from Marion, and she's asking, how important is it to have a brick and mortar to being perceived as a professional company, in addition to having that e-commerce available?
Wow, that's a great question. There's so many online only businesses. I don't think that really plays into it so much anymore. So many of the bigger businesses now are online only, and no central brick and mortar store, that I don't think it really it's going to affect the way folks view you professionally. No.
Awesome, great. So our next question comes from Neosha, and she's saying that you mentioned email newsletters and that there's been a lot of talk that these are becoming obsolete. So do you have any other suggestions other than regular email pieces such as sales or updating type emails that would be good in reaching out to your audience or potential audience?
Yeah, I love email marketing. I don't know that it's going obsolete. It's still one of the channels out there that's one of the highest returns on investment when done properly. And, just about everyone has an email, right? So it's a great way to do that. And it's a great way to get started, because when folks, when you have a sign up for a newsletter on your website or your social media, like you're not twisting anyone's arm to give you their email, right? They're going to give it to you because they want to hear from you. So that's an easy way to do that. So I don't think it's going away anytime soon. There are other alternatives out there, right? You have social media marketing. You have text message marketing, which is becoming much more common and popular now as well. So text message marketing might be another route you could look into.
Awesome. And so a couple of different people are asking about resources or places that they can go to when they're just beginning to get online. So are there any websites that you would recommend to them?
Man, there's so many options out there, and I get it can be very, very overwhelming. A lot of them are free. There's quite a few out there that are free trial, and then you pay. So I mean, I would recommend getting out there and just trying what you feel is going to work best for you. If you're a Square user already for your in-person sales, we do have our own online website solution for you, so you can always try that. We do offer a completely free version for that. Just to expound on that, YouTube is a great resource as well. I've back in the day I used YouTube as a resource to kind of figure out some coding aspects. So that's a great resource for you as well, especially if you're a visual learner like me.
You can find everything on YouTube these days.
Yeah.
Great. Our next question is from Alonda, and she's asking, how do you combat the high risk of cyber criminals from hacking into your system and violating your customers?
That is the $1 million question, right? So much out there. I know at Square we do, from the ground up in every product we build, security is built in automatically and at the highest levels. So it's really just being cautious with what you're putting out there, the tools that you use. If you use tools that require constant updating or different third-party, integrations that need updating, that's where you kind of want to be cautious, because you never know if one's out of date and becomes susceptible to some sort of hack. So always keeping everything up to date and just being aware of what partners, what third-party partners you're using in conjunction with your main services.
Great. And we have a follow-up question from Manuela. You had talked about text message marketing earlier. And they are wondering if WhatsApp also works for text message marketing.
I've heard people using it for marketing as well. I've not used it, so I can't really speak to it, but I have heard folks using WhatsApp as a type of marketing tool as well. And it depends if that's where your audience is, that might be a great solution for you, right? If email works for you, if text message works for you, if WhatsApp, it's going to be what your customers are using.
All right. And tying into that question, James is asking about a couple of strategies in order to build that customer base out.
Email marketing is going to be a great one. Just having, if you're brand new to having a website, I always recommend folks have that option to leave your email to get our newsletter and start building that up. Because eventually you're going to have a nice base to be able to market to. And these are people that want to hear from you, want to do business with you. Social media, you can get Instagram for business and Facebook for business for free, right? Those are free options out there that are widely used. Instagram especially gives you tons of data on your users. That's a great way. YouTube channel, right, would be a great way to do that as well, especially if you have a lot of visuals to be able to showcasing how you're using your product, things of that nature. And there's lots, and it just depends on your business and your area and how you're going about that. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about doing that.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Daniel, and he says that he's really understood unit cost and how it's been instrumental to figuring out his shipping strategy, but they're really struggling with forecasting and understanding forecasting when it comes to their shipping strategy. Do you have any recommendations there?
Yeah, forecasting is a difficult one, right? So, you're looking into the future, and really, the best tip I can offer you there is, be set up to be able to forecast. And by doing that, I mean, having all your data already there. Right? If you don't have the past data, it's going to be difficult to forecast. So, making sure the tools that you're using are going to give you the data you need in order to be able to forecast what you're going to need for the future.
Great, thank you. And so another question that comes on shipping, this is from Yvette. She says, my hardest part of going online is the shipping in real time. How do you add something like this to your online store?
Yeah, shipping is one that folks really, really struggle with. It's a whole new component, to your business. I get that. And for really just about any website solution out there nowadays, I mean, especially the top ones out there, they're going to have integrated shipping solutions where you can plug in your UPS, USPS, FedEx, DHL accounts immediately in there to be able to allow real-time shipping, right? And when we talk about real-time shipping, we mean someone adds something to the cart and it's, they add their shipping address and it calculates it directly from your provider. Like let's say in this case, USPS, it comes back with the rate in real time, what it's going to cost to ship that. And that's because you've given them information like what box size you're using, the weight, and then obviously the location you're shipping from. And now your customers entered in their address and there's that distance. So it calculates all of that in real time to do that. So like I said, and just about any other top e-commerce solutions out there are going to have that integrated for you in there to make that easier.
Thank you. So a couple of other people have written and asked about the services that you said Square provided for free. And just if you could give them a little bit of information about where to find those educational services.
So the best place to get any information about Square would be our main website. I would also recommend sellercommunity.com. That is our help center for Square. That's sellercommunity.com. That's going to have all our FAQs, all of our guides, and a place where you can conversate with other business owners and the Square support team as well. That's also what we'll have listed, like any webinars that we're doing, any product, any and all product updates. We're really going to be like that one-stop solution. We also have our YouTube channel with tons of help videos in there, smaller size ones that just kind of do overviews and quick, how-tos. Those would be two great resources.
Perfect. And a lot of people also have questions about shipping and about understanding it, where to find the best. I mean, lots of questions. So is there any shipping specific resources that you would point people towards?
Wow. We do have, funny enough, in the seller community, we're going to have a Q&A session with one of our shipping providers, one of our shipping integrations, a company called Shippo. They're going to talk about all things shipping in there. So that'll be a resource. If you're doing business with, your local post office, I mean, a good solution is to go in there with your product and talk to them like, this is what I'm shipping, like what's going to be the best box size, what's going to be what kind of shipping is going to be my best rate, right? So you're not, losing out on shipping, right? You want to be able to charge fairly for what you have to pay for shipping, but you don't want to undercharge or overcharge. So really just getting in there and doing a consultation with whatever provider you want to use, so they can kind of best guide you to what's going to be the best for your solution for your business.
Great. Our next question is someone who has started their business online, is already in e-commerce, and is moving and starting brick and mortar as well. And what are your recommendations and pieces of advice there?
Well, you're in good company. What we refer to now as the world of Omnichannel, right? The online and offline components all really working together. If you're doing that, I would really look at whatever you're using for in-store. It's going to be compatible with your online solution, instead of having an online solution and then an in-store solution that don't talk to each other, and then you can run into issues with inventory management, reporting, and data. So if you're going to be moving that route, either from brick and mortar to online, or from online to brick and mortar, and doing both, really just checking to see what's out there for you that works both ways, instead of having two separate solutions.
Wonderful. And now our last couple of questions are about Square specifically. They're wondering if Square is integrated with ADA regulations.
So we do have inside the website builder the ability to create an ADA compliant website. I mean, it's ultimately up to the developer who's building the website, but that's something we're constantly reviewing and looking at to make sure we're always getting compliance there. It's a difficult task.
It sure is. And then our next question from Melissa: does Square integrate with Eventbrite or other similar platforms for Zoom events, paid Zoom events?
Yeah, so we do have an app marketplace within Square. That's where you'll find any partnerships we have with other third parties. I know for Eventbrite specifically, you can actually incorporate your Square account on the back end of your Eventbrite account as the payment processor. So if you're actually using Eventbrite to take payments, there is an integration there with Square to be able to take, we would process the payment for you on the back end.
Great. And this is our last question. And Dorothy's asking if you can sell digital items using Square.
So to a point right now. So digital items is something we're actively working on developing. So right now we do have, physical goods, services, and food and beverage. Those are going to be the main types of businesses you'll see on Square Online. Digital goods is one we're really focusing on. And when we talk about digital goods, it's like selling an electronic, a PDF or a video right from your store, and having that automatically distributed to the buyer. That's the piece we're missing right now. So, I mean, you could sell digital goods on your Square website right now. The only caveat there is going to be you're going to have to then get that product to them. So, like if I had a website with personal training videos that I'm selling, or you could purchase those, get your receipt, all that process, but then it would be up to me to then get that to them via a link of some sort or via email. It wouldn't be automated. That's the piece we're working on right now, is getting that automated. So take that piece out of your hands.
Perfect. Thank you, Martine. Those are all the questions, but we have a little bit more time. Is there anything you'd like to add before I wrap up the session?
No, those are some great questions. Thank you for asking those. And not sure. I know that there were some questions we didn't get to. Am I able to kind of hang in there and answer them, or would I be able to get back to those?
Yeah, if you feel that your question wasn't answered today in this session, go ahead and stop by the Square booth, which is going to be in the sponsor
Okay.
hall.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, no, other than that,
so
happy, happy to be here. I've been able to catch a few of the events. They've been fantastic. The info that's out there. So the week-long presentations are going to be great. I'm going to catch as many as I can. Having them on demand really helps too, being able to go back and watch them in my free time. So everyone, if you can, be sure and catch as much as you can. Lots of great information out there for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you to all of you for attending this webinar this afternoon. A special thanks, of course, to Martine for presenting today and for Square for sponsoring this session. We hope that you will, of course, continue to enjoy the virtual conference and network with other business owners in the networking lounge. Visit sponsors like Square and partners in the exhibit hall and pick up free business resources connecting with SCORE expert mentors in the mentor hall to assist with your business questions. Thank you again, and we hope to see you at another session.
Great. Bye, everyone.